so many years. We've seen so many ministers come and go. The spirit of Brooklyn, we always say, is friendliness. And your sermons are not so much sermons as friendly talks. Won't you have another biscuit, Dr. Harper?
No, I'm afraid I'll have no appetite for dinner now. I always eat too many of your biscuits just to taste that lovely jam.
But you haven't tried the quince. We always put a little apple in with it to take out the tartness.
No, thank you.
We'll send you over a jar.
No. You keep it here so I can be sure of having your biscuits with it.
Oh, I do hope they don't make us use that invitation flower again. I mean, with the war trouble. It may not be very charitable of me, but almost come to the conclusion that this Mr. Hitler isn't a Christian.
If only Europe were on another planet.
Europe, sir.
Yes, Teddy.
Point your gun the other way.
Gun?
Teddy?
To the west. There's your danger. There's your enemy. Japan.
Why, yes. Of course.
Teddy?
No, Aunt Abby. Not so much talk about Europe and more about the canal.
Yes. Let's not talk about war so much. Would you like another cup of tea, dear?
No, thank you, Aunt Abby.
And you, Dr. Harper?
No, thank you. I must admit, Miss Abby, that war and violence seem far removed from these surroundings.
It is peaceful here, isn't it?
Yes, peaceful. The virtues of another day. You're all here in this house.
It's one of the oldest houses in Brooklyn. It's just as Grandfather Brewster built and furnished it. Except for electricity, of course. It was Mortimer who persuaded us to put that in.
Yes, I can understand that. Your nephew Mortimer seems to live only by electric light.
The poor boy. He has to work so late again. But we understand he's taking the lane with him to the theater again. Teddy, your brother Mortimer will be here a little later.
Oh, delighted.
We're so glad it's Lane takes to the theater with him.
Well, it's a new experience for me to wait up at 4 o'clock in the morning for your daughter to be brought home.
Oh, I do hope you don't disapprove of Mortimer.
Well,
Sister Martha and I would feel so guilty if we did. I mean, since it was in our home that they met.
yes, of course, Miss Abby. I'll say so immediately that I believe Mortimer himself to be quite a worthy gentleman. But I also must admit that I've watched the growing intimacy between him and my daughter with some trepidation.
You mean his stomach?
Stomach?
His dyspepsia. He's so bothered with it, poor boy.
No. Miss Abby, I'll be frank with you. I'm talking about your nephew's unfortunate connection with the theater.
The theater? Oh no, Dr. Harper. Mortimer writes for a New York newspaper.
I know, Miss Abby, I know. But a dramatic critic is constantly exposed to the theater. And I don't doubt, but what some of them do, develop an interest in it.
Well, not Mortimer. In fact, Mortimer hates the theater.
Really?
Oh yes, he writes such awful things about it, poor boy. He was so happy writing about real estate, which he really knew something about, and then they made him take this terrible night position.
My.
But, as he says, the theater can't last much longer anyway. And in the meantime, it's a living. Come in, Officer Brophy.
Oh, good morning, Miss Brewster.
How are you, Mr. Klein?
Very well, Miss Brewster.
Mr. President.
What news have you brought me?
Colonel, we have nothing to report.
Splendid. Thank you, gentlemen. At ease.
Hello, Dr. Harper.
Hello.
We've come for the toys for the Christmas fund, Miss Brewster.
Oh, yes.
Splendid work you men do. Fixing up discarded toys to give poor children a happier Christmas.
Gives us something to do while we're sitting around the station. You get bored after a while just playing cards, and next thing you know, you start cleaning your gun and go and shoot yourself in the foot.
Teddy, go upstairs and get the big box from Aunt Martha's room. So how
has pneumonia.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Charge!
But she's doing better, but she's still weak, my poor wife.
I'll go get you some beef broth to take to her.
Oh, no, Miss Abby, please. You've done so much for her already. You don't have to do that.
But Sister Martha and I made it this morning. She's thinking something of poor Mr. Benetsky right now. I won't be but a minute.
Can you sit down?
Yes,
We should,
please.
she shouldn't have to go through all that trouble, Klein, you know?
Listen, try to stop her or her sister from doing anything nice for anybody. And for what? They don't even care how you vote.
Well, if I know what pure kindness and absolute generosity are, it's because I've known the Brewster sisters.
Colonel, you promised us you would stop doing that.
But I have to call a cabinet meeting to get the release of those supplies.
We used to do that in the middle of the night, too. The neighbors were staying with us. Remember, Klein? They're a little afraid of him anyways.
Oh, he's quite harmless.
Suppose he does think that he's Teddy Roosevelt. There are a lot worse people he could think he was.
Damn shame. A nice family like this hatching a cuckoo.
Well, Teddy's father, the old girl's brother, was some sort of genius, wasn't he?
That's true, very true.
And their father, Teddy's grandfather, seems to me he was a little crazy too.
Yeah, he was crazy like a fox. He made $1 million.
Really? Here in Brooklyn?
Yep, patent medicine. He was a little bit of a quack, though. He used the house here as a clinic. He tested his medicine on certain people.
I hear he used to make some mistakes as well.
Indeed, he did. But the department never bothered him much, though, because he was very useful on autopsies, especially poison cases.
Well, whatever he did, he left his daughter set for life. Thank God for that.
Not that they ever used it on themselves, the poor dears.
Yes, I'm well acquainted with their charities.
You don't know the tenth of it. When I was working for the Missing Persons Bureau, we were searching for an old man that we never did find. Did you know that there's a renting agency that has this house on their list for furnished rooms? They don't rent rooms here, but you can be sure that anybody who comes here looking for a room goes away with a good meal and a few extra dollars in their cake.
It's just their way of digging up people to do some good to, you know?
Oh, now, isn't this nice?
Well, good morning, Miss Brewster.
How do you do, Mr. Brophy, Dr. Harper, Mr. Klein?
Very well, Miss Brewster. We've stopped in to grab the Christmas toys.
Ah, yes, Teddy's Army and Navy. They were out. They're all packed.
The colonel went upstairs to get them. It seems the cabinet has to okay.
Oh, yes, of course. I hope Mrs. Brophy's better.
Oh, she's doing quite well, Miss Brewster. In fact, your sister went into the kitchen to get some broth for me to take back to her.
Oh, yes, we made it this morning. I just took some to a poor man who broke ever so many bones.
Oh, dear.
Oh, you're back, Martha? How was Mr. Benetsky?
Well, dear, pretty serious, I'm afraid. The doctor was there. He was going to amputate in the morning.
Can we be present?
No. I asked, but he said it's against the rules of the hospital.
Well, here's a broth, Mr. Brophy. Be sure it's good and hot.
Thank you, Miss Abby.
We'll be going now, ma'am.
Before you go, Dr. Harper,
Charge! Charge for Blockhouse!
The blockhouse?
The stairs are always San Juan Hill.
Have you ever tried convincing him that he wasn't Teddy Roosevelt?
oh no.
So happy being Teddy Roosevelt.
Once, a long time ago, remember, Martha? We thought if he would be George Washington, it would be a change for him.
But he stayed under his bed for days and just wouldn't be anybody.
And we'd so much rather he be Mr. Roosevelt than nobody.
Well, if he's happy, and what's more important, you're happy, you will see that he signs these.
What are they?
Dr. Harper has made arrangements for Teddy to go to Happydale Sanitarium after we pass on.
But why should Teddy sign any papers now?
It's better to have it all settled. Mrs. Witherspoon understands they're to be filed away until the time comes.
Miss Witherspoon? Who's she?
She is the superintendent at Happydale.
Dr. Harper has made arrangements for her to come in tomorrow or the day after to see Teddy.
Well, I better be running along home before Elaine will come over here looking for me.
Give our love to Elaine, Dr. Harper. Oh, and please don't think harshly of Mortimer just because he's a dramatic critic. Somebody has to do these things.
Did you just have tea? Isn't it rather late?
Yes, and then it's going to be rather late too.
So, why?
Teddy, good news for you. You're going to Panama to dig another lock in the canal.
Splendid! That's bully, just bully. I should prepare once for the journey. Charge!
Happy! Mom is out?
Yes, dear.
All by yourself?
Oh, I was just fine.
I'll run right downstairs and see.
Oh, no, there wasn't time, and I was all alone.
Well,
Martha, go look in the window seat. Oh, it's Elaine. Come in, dear.
Good afternoon, Miss Abby. Good afternoon, Miss Martha. I thought Father was here.
he just this minute left. Didn't you meet him?
No, I took the shortcut through the cemetery. Mortimer hasn't come yet?
No, dear.
Oh, he asked me to meet him here. Do you mind if I wait?
Not at all.
Sit down.
But we really must speak to Mortimer about doing this to you.
Doing what?
Well, he was brought up to know better. When a gentleman is taking a young lady out, he should call her at her house.
Oh, there's something about calling for a girl at a parsonage that discourages any man who doesn't embroider.
My goodness, Elaine. What you must think of us not having tea cleared away by this time.
Now don't bother with anything in the kitchen until Mortimer comes, and then I'll help you. Mortimer should be here any minute now.
Yes, Father must have been surprised not to find me at home. I better run over and say goodnight to him.
It's a shame you missed him, dear.
If Mortimer comes, you tell him I'll be right back. Hello, Mort.
Hello, Elaine. Hello, Aunt Martha.
Abby, Mortimer's here.
Well, can't you take a hint?
No, it was pretty obvious. A lack of inventiveness, I should say.
Yes, that's exactly what you would say.
Where would you like to go for dinner?
I don't care. I'm not very hungry.
Well, I just had breakfast. Suppose we wait until after the show.
But that'll make it pretty late, won't it?
Not with the little stinker we're seeing tonight.
You ought to be fair to these plays.
Are these plays ever fair to me?
I've never seen you walk out on a musical.
My musical isn't playing tonight, is it?
No?
Darling, you'll have to learn the rules. With a musical, there will always be 4 changes of title and 3 postponements. They like to New Haven, but it needs a lot of work.
I was hoping it would be a musical.
You have such a light mind.
Not a bit. After a serious play, we join the proletariat in the subway, and I listen to a lecture on the drama. But after a musical, you take me home in a taxi, and you make a few passes.
Now, wait a minute, darling. That is a very inaccurate piece of reporting.
Oh, I will admit that after the Burham play, you told me I had authentic beauty. And that's a hell of a thing to say to a girl. And it wasn't until after our first musical, you told me I had nice legs. And I have too.
You know, from Minister's Daughter, you sure know a lot about life. Where'd you learn it?
In the choir loft.
I'll explain that to you sometime, darling. The close connection between eroticism and religion.
Religion never gets as high as the choir loft.
Say, where can we be married in a hurry? Like, tonight?
I'm afraid Father will insist on officiating.
Oh, God. I'll bet your father can make even the marriage service sound pedestrian.
Are you by any chance writing a review of it?
Forgive me, darling. It is an occupational disease. But you know, I may give that play tonight a good notice.
Now, darling, don't pretend you love me that much.
Just make sure to tell your father not to wait up tonight.
I think tonight I'd better tell him to wait up.
All right. Everything formal and legal, but no later than next month.
Darling, I'll talk it over with Father and we'll set the date.
No. We need to see what's in rehearsal. There'll be a lot of other first nights in October.
Hello, Mortimer.
How are you, Mr. President?
Bully, thank you, just bully. What news have you brought me?
Just this, Mr. President. The country is squarely behind you.
I know, isn't it wonderful? Well, goodbye. Goodbye.
Where are you off to, Teddy?
Panama.
Panama is the cellar. He digs locks for the canal down there.
You're very fond of him. And he's very fond of you, too.
Well, you know, Teddy was always my favorite brother.
Favorite? Were there more of you?
Well, there is another brother. Jonathan.
I've never heard of him. Your aunt's never mentioned him.
Oh, no. We don't like to talk about Jonathan. He left Brooklyn very early after a quest. Jonathan was the type of boy that liked to cut worms into two. With his teeth.
Well, what became of him?
I don't know. He always wanted to become a surgeon like grandfather, but he wouldn't go to medical school first, and his practices got him into trouble.
Oh, aren't you two going to be late to the theater?
Oh, we're skipping dinner. We won't have to start for a half an hour.
I'll leave you two alone then.
Oh, don't bother, darling. I'm going home to talk to Father. Before I go out with you, he likes to pray over me a little. I'll be right back. I'm going to run through the cemetery.
If the prayer isn't too long, I'd have time to lead you beside the still waters.
Mortimer, that's the first time I've ever heard you quote the Bible. We knew Elaine would be a good influence on you.
Yes, and by the way, I'm going to marry her.
What? Ah! Martha, come here. I have good news for you. Mortimer and Elaine are going to be married. Oh, Mortimer! We hoped it would happen just like that.
Elaine must be the happiest girl in the world.
Happy? Just look at her leaping over those gravestones. By the way, I left a large envelope here last week. It contains a chapter on my book for Thoreau. Have you seen it?
Well, if you left it here, it must be here somewhere.
So, what are your plans? When are you going to be married? There must be something more you can tell us about Elaine.
Elaine? Oh, yes. Elaine thought it was brilliant.
Likewise, dear.
My chapter on Thoreau. So,
Well-
is there any of that Lady Baltimore cake?
Yes, and I'll open a bottle of wine.
Yes. Oh, and to think it happened in this room.
Where can I put that?
Well, with your fiance sitting beside you tonight, I do hope the play will be something you can enjoy for once. What's it called?
Murder will out.
Oh, dear!
When the curtain goes up, the first thing you'll see is a dead body. And Abby,
Yes, dear?
you were going to make plans for Teddy to go to that sanitarium, Happydale.
Yes, dear. The paper's right here.
You guys have them right away.
That's what Dr. Harper thinks. That way there won't be any legal difficulties after we pass on.
He's got time this minute. He's down in the cellars, and get him up here right away.
There's no such hurry as that.
No, once when he starts working on the canal, he can't get his mind on anything else.
Teddy has got to go to Happydale now, tonight.
Oh no, dear, that's not until after we're gone.
Right away, I tell you, right away!
Why, Mortimer, how can you say such a thing? As long as we live, we'll never be separated from Teddy.
Listen, darlings, I'm frightfully sorry, but I've got some very shocking news for you. Now, we've all got to keep our heads. Now, you know that we sort of humored Teddy, because we thought he was harmless.
Why, he is harmless.
He was harmless. You gotta know sometime, it might as well be now. Teddy has killed a man.
Nonsense, dear.
There's a body in the window seat.
Yes, dear, we know.
No, but it has nothing to do with Teddy.
Now, you just forget you ever saw the gentleman.
Forget?
Oh, we never dreamed you peed.
Who is he?
His name's Hoskins, Adam Hoskins. That's all I really know about him, except that he's Methodist.
That's all you know about him? Well, what happened to him? What's he doing here?
He died.
Aunt Martha, men just don't go into window seats and die.
And no, he died first.
Well, how?
Oh, Mortimer, don't be so inquisitive. He died because he drank some wine with poison in it.
Well, how did the poison get in the wine?
Well, we put it in wine because it's less noticeable. When it's in tea, it has a distinct odor.
You put it in the wine?
Yes, and I put Mr. Hoskins in the window seat because Dr. Harper was coming.
So, you admit what you have done, and you put the body in the window seat so Dr. Harper wouldn't see it.
Yes, because it wouldn't have been so nice to see at tea time. Now, Mortimer, just forget the whole thing. I do think Martha and I have the right to our own little secrets.
Hello, say desk. Hello, Al. Do you know who this is? That's right, Al. When I went to the office, I told you where I was going, remember? Well, where did I say? Should take me a half an hour to get to Brooklyn. What time have you got? Right. I need to get going soon. And Abby and Martha, come in here. What are we gonna do? What are we gonna do?
What are we going to do about what, dear?
There's a body in there.
For pity's sake, stop worrying.
Worrying? Worrying?
Mortimer, you're too old to be flying off the handle like this.
But Mr. Hodgkins.
Hoskins, dear.
Well, whatever his name is, you can't just leave him there.
We don't intend to, dear.
No, Teddy's down in Panama building the lock for the canal.
You mean you're going to bury him?
Oh, yes, dear. That's what we did with all the others.
No. Can't bury him. Others?
Yes, the other gentleman.
When you say others, you mean others? More than one others?
Oh, yes, dear. Let's see. I believe this is 11. Isn't it, Abby?
No, dear. This makes 12.
Oh, I think you're wrong, Abby. This is only 11.
No, dear. You see, when Mr. Hoskins came in, I thought to myself he would make just an even dozen.
Well, you really shouldn't count the first one.
Oh, I was counting the first one, so that makes 12.
Hello? Oh, hello, Al. My, it's good to hear your voice.
Well, anyway, they're all down in the cellar.
No, no, Al, I'm sober as a lark. Al, I am so glad you called. You need to get a hold of George. He has to review the play tonight. I can't make it. No, Al, you're wrong. I'll explain it all to you tomorrow. George has to cover the play. That's all there is to it. This is my department and I'm running it. You get a hold of George right now. Okay. Let's see. Where were we? Ah, yes. 12?
Yes. Abby thinks you ought to count the first one, and that makes 12.
Okay, so who was the first one?
Mr. Midgley, he was a Baptist.
Of course. I still think we can't claim full credit for him because he just died.
A Martha means without any help from us. You see, Mr. Midgley came here looking for a room,
It was right after you moved to New York.
and it seemed like such a shame to let the room go to waste when there were so many people who needed it.
He was such a lonely old man.
All his kith and kin, they were dead and it left him so forlorn and unhappy.
We felt so sorry for him.
And then, as he sat in that chair and had his heart attack, he looked so peaceful. And we made up our minds right then and there, if we could help other lonely old men to that same peace, we would.
He dropped dead right in that chair? How awful for you.
Oh, no, dear. Wine was rather like old times. Your grandfather always used to have a cadaver or two around the house. You see, Teddy had been digging in Panama, and he thought Mr. Midgley was a yellow fever
meant he had to be buried immediately.
So we all took him down to Panama and put him in the law. Now, that's why we told you not to worry about it, because we know exactly what's to be done.
So, this is how it all began. That man coming in here and dropping dead.
Of course, Marv and I realized we couldn't just depend on that happening again. So,
You remember the jars of poison that have been up on the shelf in Grandfather's laboratory all these years?
and you know your Aunt Martha's knack for mixing things. You've eaten enough of her piccalilli.
Well, dear, for a gallon of elderberry wine, I take 1 teaspoonful of arsenic, half teaspoonful of strychnine, and then just a pinch of cyanide.
Should have a pretty kick.
Yes, as a matter of fact, one of the gentlemen found time to say, how delicious.
Well, I'll have to get things started in the kitchen.
I'll come and help you, dear.
I'm trying out a new recipe.
I couldn't eat a thing.
I do wish you could stay for dinner. Oh, you have to wait for Elaine, don't you? Well, I'll leave you alone with your thoughts. Coming, Martha!
It's poison. Fine. Dead man.
Oh, it's you. Elaine, listen, I'm busy at the moment, so why don't you just go home and I'll call you tomorrow?
Tomorrow?
Yeah, you know I always call you up in a day or two.
But we're going to the theater tonight.
No, dear, we're not.
Well, why not?
Elaine, something's come up.
What is it? Mortimer, you've lost your job?
No, I haven't lost my job, dear. It's just that I'm not reviewing the play tonight. So, you just go home and I'll call you.
But I've got to know what's happened. Certainly you can tell me.
No, dear, I can't.
But if we're going to be married,
Married?
have you forgotten that not 15 minutes ago you proposed to me?
I did?
Oh, yes. Yeah, well, as far as I know, it's still on. I got something to do, so you just go home and I'll call you.
You can't propose to me 1 minute and then throw me out of the house the next.
Darling, I'm not throwing you out of the house. It's just a will you just get out of here?
No, I will not get out of here. Not until I find out what's happened.
Elaine? Hello? Oh, Hal. Can you hold on for a second? All right, it's important, but can it wait a second? Can it? Just hold on. Look, Elaine, you're a sweet girl, and I love you. But right now, I have something on my mind, and I need for you to wait for me, to go home, wait for me, to call you.
Don't try to be masterful.
When we're married and I have problems, I hope you're less tedious and uninspired.
And when we're married, if we're married, I hope to find you adequate. Ugh!
Elaine, Elaine! Hello, Al? Hello? Al? Al, hello? Hello, Al?
That's the doorbell, dear, not the telephones. Come in.
I hear you have a room to rent.
Yes, won't you step in?
Are you the lady of the house?
Yes, I'm Miss Brewster. And this is my sister, another Miss Brewster.
Oh, how do you do? My name is Jim.
Won't you sit down?
Hello, say desk. Let me talk to Al again. Al, say desk. What? Oh, I'm sorry, wrong number.
I'd really like to see the room.
Why don't you sit down a minute? Let's get acquainted.
I won't do much good unless I don't like the room.
Is Brooklyn your home?
I haven't got a home. I live in a hotel and I don't like it.
Hello, city desk.
Your family Brooklyn people?
I haven't got a family.
All alone in the world? Well, Martha. Well, you've come to just the right house. Please sit down.
Hello, Al. We got cut off. Al, I can't read the place tonight. That's all there is to it. I can't!
What church do you go to? There's an Episcopal church practically next door.
Actually, I'm a Presbyterian. Or at least I used to be.
What is George doing in Bermuda? Well, certainly I told him to go to Bermuda. It's my department, isn't it? But Al, you've got to get me somebody. Who else is there in the office?
Is there always this much noise?
Oh, he doesn't live with us.
There's got to be somebody around the place. Look out. Al, what about the office boy? You know, the bright one? Yes, the one we don't like.
Clean the room.
It's upstairs, but try a glass of wine first.
Never touch it.
It's elderberry wine. We make it ourselves.
Elderberry wine? You know, I haven't had elderberry wine since I was a little boy.
There's got to be some bitters that are available. Al, talk. You know the fellow that sets my copies? He ought to know what I write. His name's Joe.
Do you have your own elderberry bushes?
No, but the cemetery is full of them.
No, I am not drinking! But I am going to start tonight.
More! No! Not that!
Oh, don't drink that! It's poison! Get out! No! ¡Arriba! You can't do things like that! I don't know how else to explain it to you, but not only is it against the law, it's wrong! It's not a very nice thing to do! People wouldn't understand. He wouldn't understand!
Abby, we shouldn't have told Mortimer.
But I mean it! This has developed into a very bad habit.
Mortimer, we don't try to interfere with the things you like to do. I don't see why you should interfere with us.
What? All right, I'll see you in the first act. Now pain the hell out of it. But Al, you gotta get me somebody. Get a hold of O'Brien, our lawyer, the head of our legal department. Have him meet me at the theater. Now don't let me down. I'm counting on you on this. All right, I'm starting now. I've got to go to the theater. I can't get out of it. But before I go, will you promise me something?
We'd have to know what it was first.
I love you very much, and I know you love me back. And you know I'd do anything in the world for you. But can you just do this one little thing for me?
What is it?
Don't do anything. I mean, don't do anything. Don't let anyone in the house, and leave Mr. Hoskins right where he is.
Why?
Because I need time to think. And right now, I have very little to think about. You know I wouldn't want anything to happen to you.
Well, what on earth could happen to us?
Anyway, you'll do this one thing for me, won't you?
Well, we were planning on holding services before dinner.
Services?
Certainly. You don't think we'd bury Mr. Hoskins without a full Methodist service, do you? Why, he was a Methodist.
Well, can I wait till I get back?
Yes! Then you can join us.
Wow,
Yes,
Abby.
yes, yes. Okay, so you won't let anyone in this house while I'm gone. It's a promise?
Wow. Martha, we can do that now that Mortimer's cooperating with us. Well, yes.
Okay, so, do you have any paper? I need to meet somebody. I'll get back as soon as I can.
Here's some stationery. Will this do?
It'll do just fine. I can save time if I write my review on the way to the theater.
Mortimer didn't seem quite himself today.
Well, that's only natural. I think I know why.
Why?
Mortimer's just become engaged to be married. I suppose that always makes a man nervous.
Oh, Abby. Mortimer's gonna join us for the services. We'll need another hymnal. There's one in my room.
Oh, Martha, you know, it's really my turn to read the services, but since you weren't here when Mr. Hoskins arrived, I want you to do it.
Oh, well, that's very nice of you, dear, but sure you want me to?
It's only fair.
Well, I think I'll wear my black bombazine and mother's old booch.
I'll get that.
Promise Mortimer won't let anyone in.
Who do you think it is?
Wait a minute.
What?
car at the curb. They must have come in that.
Oh, let me look.
Do you recognize them?
They're strangers to me.
We'll just have to pretend we're not at home.
Come in, Doctor. This is the place of my youth. As a child, I couldn't wait to escape from it. Now, I escape back into it.
Yeah, Johnny. Just fun hideout.
Yes. Family must still live here. Something so unmistakably Brewster. About the Brewsters. I hope there's a fattened calf waiting to return of the prodigal.
Yeah, I'm hungry. Ah, look, Johnny.
Drinks. As if we were expected. A good omen.
Who are you? What are you doing here?
You! Get out of here!
Aunt Abby. Aunt Martha. It's Jonathan.
You're not a nephew, Jonathan. You're nothing like him. So get out of here.
It's me, Jonathan, your nephew. And this is Dr. Einstein.
And he's not Dr. Einstein.
Not Dr. Albert Einstein. Dr. Herman Einstein. Surgeon.
Get out of here.
Aunt Abby, I still see you wear that lovely garnet ring Grandma Brewster bought for you in London. And you, Aunt Abby, Aunt Martha, still high collar, the scars and the acid from Grandfather's laboratory.
Voices like Jonathan's.
Have you been in an accident?
No, my face. It's been changed. Dr. Einstein was responsible for that.
But I've seen that face before. Abby, remember when we took the little shelf to the movies and I was so frightened? It was that face.
Easy, Johnny. Easy. Don't worry, ladies. The last 5 years, I've given Johnny 3 new faces. I give him another one right away. The last one, well, I was intoxicated. See what you've done to me, Doctor? Even to my own family? Johnny, you're home, in this lovely house. How often he tells me about Brooklyn, about this house, about his eyes that he loves so much. They know it's you, Johnny. You know it's Jonathan. Speak to him. Tell him so.
Well, Jonathan, it's been a very long time. What have you been doing all these years?
Yes. Jonathan, where have you been?
Oh, I've been to London, Australia, South Africa. Last 5 years, Chicago. Dr. Einstein and I were in business together.
Oh, we were in Chicago for the World's Fair.
Yes. We found Chicago awfully warm.
Yeah, it got hot for us too.
Well, it's good to be in Brooklyn again. Abby, Martha, and you haven't aged a day. Just as I remember you, sweet, charming, hospitable. And dear Teddy, how has he been? Did he get into politics? My dear little brother, Doctor, you want to become president?
Oh, Teddy's fine. And just fine. And so is Mortimer.
Yes, I know all about Mortimer. I've seen his face at the head of his column. I see fulfilled his earlier nasty ambition.
Oh, we're very fond of Mortimer.
Well, Jonathan, it's very nice to have seen you again.
Bless you, Aunt Martha. It's good to be home again.
Well,
please. The police have got pictures of that face. I've got to walk around you right away. And we've got to find some place for Mr. Spinaldo, too.
Don't waste any worry on that rat.
But Johnny, we've got a hot stiff on our hands.
I said, don't worry about him.
But you can't leave a dead body in the rubble seat. You shouldn't have killed him, Johnny. He was a nice fellow. He gives you the lift, and what happens?
He said I looked like Boris Karloff. That was your work, doctor. You did that to me.
We find the place somewhere. I picked you up. Beautiful.
Tonight.
Not tonight, Johnny. I can't. I'm hungry. I'm weak.
Well, Jonathan, we're really very glad that you remembered us and took the time to say hello. But you were never happy in this house. And we were never happy while you were in it. So we just come in to say goodbye.
Aunt Abby, I can't say your attitude toward me comes as a surprise. But I've spent many hours regretting the many heartaches I must have given to you as a boy.
And you were quite a trial to us, Jonathan.
But my biggest regret is not for you, but for Dr. Einstein. I promised him no matter how much in a rush we were in Brooklyn, we'd stop here for one of Aunt Martha's home-cooked dinners.
I'm sorry, but there wouldn't be enough.
Abby, it's a pretty good-sized pot roast.
Pot roast.
I think the least we can
Thank you, Aunt Martha. We'll stay for dinner.
Well, we'll hurry along.
Yes.
Oh, and Jonathan, if you want to freshen up, you can use the washroom in Grandfather's old lavatory.
Is that still there?
Oh, yes, just as he left it. Well, I'll go help Martha because we're all in a hurry.
Well, we get a meal anyways.
Just as it was, Doctor. Grandfather's old laboratory. A perfect operating room.
Too bad we can't use it.
And then after we're done with that, Doctor, you can make a fortune here. The laboratory, the ward, 10 beds. Doctor, Brooklyn's crying out for your talents.
Take it easy, Johnny. Your aunts. They don't want us here.
We're here for dinner, aren't we?
Yeah. But after dinner,
I'll handle it, Doctor. Why? This house will be our base for years.
that would be beautiful, Johnny. This nice, quiet house. Those aunts of yours. What sweet ladies. I love them already. I go get bags, yeah?
Doctor, you must be invited first.
But you just said that.
Will be invited.
And if they say no?
Doctor, 2 helpless women.
It's like comes true. A beautiful dream. Only, I hope you're not dreaming.
That's what makes this
It's
place.
so peaceful.
That's what makes this house so perfect. It's so peaceful.